The Anoka-Hennepin district has a proud tradition over the last 70 years of serving the community and being a reflection of the community. Schools are the foundation of a community, and people who see strong schools are inclined to move into that community. And strong schools play a part in making sure that people in our community are ready to be contributing community members. This referendum is our opportunity to continue our efforts in providing success, stability, and support for all students.
Residents of Anoka-Hennepin will have the opportunity to weigh in on 3 questions on or before November 2nd. If approved, the referendum would provide funds for Anoka-Hennepin to maintain stability in schools by continuing to adequately staff schools and classrooms to address and improve class size, focus on success for students by maintaining technology tools and program opportunities, and support students by maintaining and improving mental health services, along with social, emotional, and academic resources. If questions 1 and 2 are approved, voters are renewing 2 referendum projects that were scheduled to expire. Voters would see no tax increase. Current taxes would be extended. Question 3 is contingent upon the approval of Question 1. Question 3 is in response to community feedback. If approved, Anoka-Hennepin will be able to extend new support programs initially funded in response to the pandemic, which the community indicated was an increasing need before 2020. If Question 3 is approved, the tax impact is approximately $10 a month for an Anoka-Hennepin homeowner who owns a $250,000 property. This chart also lists a few examples. A tax impact calculator is also available online. Stay informed and learn how your ballot can impact the success, support, and stability of Anoka-Hennepin schools at ahschools.us/vote2021.
Followed by an opportunity to visit with the district employees in the room or take a survey on any of the laptops available or online. Over the last week, we have found significantly higher participation by people watching online than in the room. But like I said, there's about a 15-minute presentation, then an opportunity for people in the room to visit with anyone who's here. Tonight in the room, we have members of our school board, Chair Marcy Anderson, Board Member Jeff Simon, Board Member Anna Dirkswager. We have our Chief Financial Officer, our Associate Superintendents for Elementary and Middle School, our HR, Employee Services Director, and a variety of building level principals for people that have questions about a specific level. With that, we'll get started. The school district works hard to meet the needs of the community, and the board measures this by asking our community every spring, and as we have for 20 years, a handful of questions to determine where we can improve, and we have a fairly robust continuous improvement process. In that survey, we ask questions like, how do you value the quality of education? And 87% of our community says that that's excellent or good. We ask, which part of our program do you think is the most, you're most impressed with? And they say teachers and staff, 91%. 85% say the district provides a wide range of opportunities for students. 87% say we have strong communication with families. And last January, in the midst of the pandemic, we asked our community, how are we doing managing the pandemic? And 71% said excellent or good, which we were surprised because it was a very challenging year for staff and for students. Our school board has known that these 2 referendum questions are expiring this year and next year for about a decade, and have been monitoring community interest on where we should be focusing our resources. And so we are here to talk about our Referendum 21 vote. This is an information campaign, our ability to help people remember what the funds are going towards. Well, I'll start off with just a high-level overview. There are 3 questions. The first question renews an operating levy passed almost a decade ago. It's a renewal of that $34.5 million. It's no increase year over year. It's just a renewal for the next 10 years. The second question is our capital projects levy for technology. That's $4.5 million. That's a renewal. That was passed 10 years ago. If that's passed, there's no tax increase year over year. That's an extension over the next 10 years. The final question is the $10 a month generating almost $11 million, $10 a month on a $250,000 home, excuse me. And that's to maintain programs that we're using federal funds for over the next 2 years to increase our mental health and social emotional support for students and support for students that aren't at grade level in math and reading, among other areas. So we'll go through each one of these questions one by one. The first question is a straight renewal, $34.5 million, $828 per pupil. That's just under 10% of the district's general fund that this generates. These funds are used to support almost everything in every building. At 10%, this is a wide range of programming to reach every student's needs to prepare for college and post-secondary careers with a focus on graduating rate, increasing our graduation rates. Without these funds, it would be, we'll cover this in more detail, reducing learning opportunities, increasing class size, changing school schedules, or closing schools are things that the district has done in the past when they're cutting, although never $34.5 million. Frequently, people say, well, what is $34.5 million? What would that be if you were cutting? And what we did is we went through 10% of each of these areas, 1.2 million of school and district administration, 1 million of district level supports, 29 million that is straight out of instruction, 1.5 million in transportation, and 1.5 million in operations. That would be if you took 10% out of all of those budget areas. The second question is our capital projects levy, often referred to as the technology levy. That provides technology to support learning in the classrooms, computers, broadband infrastructure, networks, and audio-enhanced classrooms. If you walk into any one of our buildings, you'll notice that you have Wi-Fi and that students can come and sit in the cafeteria or the media center or at their locker and have access to the internet. That's part of this funding. Every classroom we have on our buildings, the teacher can wear a microphone, and anywhere in the room you can hear through a speaker the teacher's instruction. That's part of this. Also, computers, but not just the Chromebook kids take home, computers that fund unique classroom opportunities like CAD design or some of our programs at the STEP program, as well as teacher technology to connect with students. This supports all students' access to learning, eliminates gaps between students, and without these funds, the district would need to reduce the budget in other areas to provide technology or not provide these services. As we were deciding to bring this back to the community as a priority, we asked the question, how important is the ability to use computers and other technology for today's students? And 85% absolutely essential or very important. It was with this information that the board made the decision to bring this back to the community. This is being funded currently with federal funds this year because we're allowed to do that because of the impact COVID had on our technology, and that it would expire after this year if it's not renewed. The final question is an operating levy to extend the mental health and academic support that we receive through federal emergency funds. That's about $45 million from 2020 to 2023 in federal funds. The first chunk of that was spent during the last school year. The next $35 million over the next 2.5 years are going to specifically summer school supports, additional counselors and social workers, a significant effort to lower class size in kindergarten through 3rd grade, additional academic interventions for middle school and high school students, and math and reading intervention at the elementary level. We're really focusing on areas that our community has told us when we ask our community if there's one area to improve to meet your needs, what would it be? And the 2 highest areas have consistently been social emotional support or mental health support and support for students below grade level. So the timing of this would be when the federal funds expire. This would kick in for the next 10 years. Here that is on a graphic in July of 2021. The money is given to the school district. It has to be spent by December of 2023. If that question is approved from 2023 to 2033, those supports would remain in place. This tax calculator is available online. We targeted a $250,000 home. At the time that we were going out, that was near the average market value. It has gone up since then, but we wanted to stay consistent with that message. That's not the average market value. It's probably closer to $300,000. That's why we have a tax calculator to show that impact on here. You can go online and actually enter in the value of your home and see the exact impact. Here you can see that for questions 1 and 2, there is no new increase other than an extension of that current levy. And then you can see the yearly impact or monthly impact on this chart. We look at the 10 largest suburban school districts to see where we rank in terms of voter-approved levy. And you can see of those 10 school districts, we're 9th out of 10. If question 3 is approved, we would still be 9th out of 10. We're fortunate because we run a large system, we can be a little bit more efficient with administration at the district level and put more in the buildings. But one of the questions that people ask is, how come you come out so much and how does this compare to other school districts? And so this is out there for people to review. Our primary goal is information. Be informed about what you'd be voting on. That's why we're holding these information sessions. That's why we're putting a mailer in everyone's mailbox in the next 10 days. We'll be continuing to send messages through Facebook, we've had multiple news announcements about it, newspaper announcements about it. On our webpage, you can find the polling places, voter registration information, FAQs, tax impact, and we continue to update our FAQs based on feedback from surveys or from community members. Quick summary, question 1 is a renewal of an operating levy that's just under 10% of our budget. Question 2 is a renewal of a technology levy that's $4.5 million. And question 3 would be a new tax that if people chose to vote for it, that would improve academic and social emotional support, extend the federal funds to support that. And it's $10 per month on a $250,000 home, but use the calculator on our webpage. With that, our presentation online is done, and people in the room are welcome to visit with anyone who's here. We'll turn out the online presentation. And I'd point out, just so people can raise hands and see who's here, our board members, if you want to raise your hands, our financial officer, if you want to ask that question, or building level administration if you want to talk to them. And so with that, we'd open up